Thank you for tuning in. This is DJ Fob Fresh from SegaShiro.com, your Sega resource, and this is Radiant Silvergun. Developed by Treasure for the STV arcade board in 1998, this classic was later brought over to the Sega Saturn with extra animations and cutscenes from the Gonzo Animation Studio. Treasure is a much-loved company amongst the hardcore gaming crowd because often they develop games with a unique combination of old-school mechanics, innovation, as well as explosive action and all sorts of humor. Still, it is almost shocking that with their first vertical scrolling shooter, Treasure actually manages to eclipse most other efforts by other companies. And really, this is only rivaled by its spiritual successor, Ikaruga. In fact, few games have the legacy that Radiant Silvergun has, and it is entirely earned. However, when you first boot up the game, its initial impression might seem somewhat different than what one expects. With a muted color palette and an often somber score, initial playthroughs of the game seem almost claustrophobic and slow. This has sort of given the game a moniker of it being excruciatingly difficult, except it isn't really. Like all great games, Radiant Silvergun is relentlessly fair. This is a meticulously designed game where the challenge is met by an awesome weapon system and a brilliant upgrading system. Radiant Silvergun gives players 7 instruments of death, ranging from forward-facing blasters to area bombs to homing missiles. Each one of these weapons has a specific time and place where they're best used, and it's up to gamers to figure out through repeated gameplay sessions when they should be using which weapon. The levels are so well designed that there's no need for smart bombs. Gamers have to earn their super weapons using the Radiant Sword to collect enemy projectiles. The Radiant Sword is one of the game's more unique weapons, which allows you to absorb some attacks as well as dish out a super attack. This weapon balance is complemented by a unique scoring system that's multi-layered. Essentially, the point system acts almost as an experience bar. The higher your point total grows, the more effective and lethal your weapons become. It's a fantastic reward mechanic that makes learning the game's intricate details that much more rewarding. There are a variety of ways to boost your score. One way is to chain enemies together. So enemies have 3 basic colors, red, blue, and yellow. If you manage to kill 3 enemies of the same color, you get a chain bonus. If you continue shooting enemies of that same color, your bonus grows exponentially. Despite all of the seemingly chaos, the actual end result is surprisingly simple. Radiant Silvergun wants you to pick your shots. Shooting one of all 3 colors, like 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 blue, will get you a secret bonus, which is another way to earn points. You can also gain points by using each one of the weapons effectively. Essentially, each weapon has its own condition. For example, with a homing missile, you might need to get 300 hits before you register a point bonus for that weapon. A lot of the chaining happens seamlessly, so you don't need to really worry about it in your first playthroughs. Eventually, though, it'll start to become more of a factor. There are 2 other ways to earn battle experience and points in Radiant Silvergun. One is to find so-called merry dogs. And what these are little dogs that are hidden in the gameplay that can only be found by using the lock-on weapon. If you find them, you get a rather sizable bonus. Now, another surefire way to gain lots of points is to decimate the game's various bosses, and there are tons of them. These are monstrous creations that have multiple parts, and essentially in the game, if you destroy each one of the parts before you kill the entire boss, you gain a destruction bonus. In terms of graphics, this game is stunning on the Sega Saturn. The master coders at Treasure managed to even include effects previously thought impossible on the Saturn, such as transparencies. There is some minor slowdown here and there, however, that often helps the experience. But the unique mesh of anime cutscenes, high-res 2D art, and 3D graphics is actually blended together rather seamlessly. It creates an incredible, coherent universe, and with a well-balanced gameplay is something to behold. The Saturn pad is perfect for this game. The D-pad helps you do the concentrated tap motions that you need to get and navigate through tight areas. The game also works well with the arcade stick. You can remap all of your buttons, and of course an extra config menu opens up after you've put a significant number of hours into the game. This hidden config menu turns arcade mode into more of a practice mode, giving you the ability to select a specific level, even change the speed at which the game runs, as well as seeing things like hit detection boxes. If you pop the Saturn game disc into your PC, you can actually download a variety of high-res images, and including a Japanese version of the game script. The storyline is surprisingly dark and somber, and I can't wait to play this again in English on Xbox Live Arcade. The levels seem out of order when you first play arcade mode, however in story mode you learn that they each happen consecutively. And while this seems odd, not many games let you take out a god. The game has a theme of rebirth, and this is revisited in the game mechanics. As you play through Saturn mode, you're allowed to save your progress, save your weapon upgrades, and each successive playthrough makes you feel more powerful than the last. The game is further set off by a haunting, dramatic, beautiful score that just fits the universe and fits the experience perfectly. You can storm through the arcade mode in about a half hour with multiple continues. In Saturn mode, it takes 45 minutes to an hour depending on your skill level and how much you've upgraded. And while that hour may seem short, it's actually perfect for the amount of concentration and zen-like patience you'll need to have while playing this game. However, due to the combination of upgrades and pure skill that this game requires, it's easy to play this game in the double digits of hours, even more so if you want to beat it on a single credit. Radiant Silvergun is a game that stands tall next to its legacy, and while I love my Saturn copy, I'm overjoyed that I'm going to be able to play this again on Xbox Live Arcade. If shoot-'em-ups are pure, distilled gameplay, then Radiant Silvergun stands as one of the genre's finest wines. This is DJ Fubfresh signing out, saying keep on gaming.